Alright, hello everyone and welcome to AEW Discussion. I'm your host and AEW enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Dynamite October 10th, 2023 edition. And Dynamite would be presenting a special Title Tuesday episode. So because of baseball, Dynamite would be moved to Tuesday night, and in an effort to compete against NXT, AEW tried to make this show have a pay-per-view-esque feel to it, even going so far as to have a half-hour buy-in show, which I gotta be honest, I completely forgot was a thing. Overall, I would say the show in the first hour delivered, and the second hour not so much. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with Danielson versus Strickland, and the winner of this match taking on Christian Cage for the TNT title on Collision, which will be Danielson. So this was a good action-packed opener that saw Strickland attempt to use Prince Nana's crown for the victory, only for Hangman Adam Page to inject himself and keep him from doing so. The distraction would allow Danielson to rock Strickland with the Blue Cycle knee for the win. Strickland continues to prove he is a main event level talent in AEW by the way of show-stealing matches against former world champions. Danielson is one of the best wrestlers of all time, and Swerve never once looked like he was outmatched or outclassed. Instead, he rose to the occasion, as he has repeatedly, and the future is still very bright for Swerve Strickland, even though he came out on the losing side here. Jericho versus Powerhouse Hobs. So there was a concentrated effort by Tony Khan to reheat Hobs after months of questionable booking that pretty much left him out in the cold. It worked, even if the match was completely different than perhaps what was expected. Jericho, credit to him, he did what was right for business and made Hobs look stronger than anyone has to this point, likely understanding that he is only as strong as the opponents he has to work with. So again, credit to him for doing that in such a decisive manner that there's no question as to who the better man was on this night. A great showcase for Hobbs. AEW International Championship match, Orange Cassidy versus Rey Fenix, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, Orange Cassidy is All-Atlantic Champion, or International Champion. Nonetheless, congrats to Cassidy on that. It is a shame that Fenix, though, had his title reign cut short, but excuse me. It looks like Phoenix is shoot injured, so it certainly fits the narrative of the All-Atlantic or International title being cursed. Moxley had it and then had to drop it because of injury in the middle of a match too. And then Phoenix had it, and then it looks like again his title reign cut short due to injury. So Cassidy gets another shot at it, and why not? He was so great as champion last time around. So yeah, and this match was originally supposed to be Moxley versus Phoenix, but Mox was not medically cleared to compete, so Orange Cassidy would step up instead. This was a fast-paced title bout that pretty much saw Cassidy and Phoenix's title reign, and that booking decision unexpectedly paid off Cassidy's descent into despair, depression, over losing the title in the first place, and essentially reset things back to where they were prior to All Out. Considering the injuries suffered by both Moxley and Phoenix since then, there are worse options for the gold than the guy who brought so much consistency to AEW programming in 2023. And in the main event, Adam Copeland making his AEW in-ring debut versus Luchasaurus, and these guys clubbed each other, really laying into the strikes in what was a better than expected match. Botched interference from Christian Cage set up the win for Copeland, and an attempted beatdown was started by Bryan Danielson in the BCC. Danielson closed out the show with Christian Cage tapping out to the bell lock, a preview of the championship match on Collision. This was a nice introduction ring to the in-ring work of Copeland at this point in his career, and an idea of what Luchasaurus is capable of when filling a role greater than that of undefined backup. Danielson versus Cage is going to be a great match Saturday, and it's definitely worth tuning in to Collision to see. One backwards. There we go. In conclusion, this was a tale of two shows, as I talked about at the top. The first hour, had this looking like one of the best episodes of Dynamite this year, and then the second half pretty much dispelled that notion. The Danielson Strickland match was a great way to open the show. Hangman Page and Jay White had a quality bout. Cassidy versus Phoenix was good for what it was. When you look at the second half of the show, the quality was just not there. Unlike in the first hour, Copeland versus Luchasaurus, fine main event, and Shida and Saraya worked with what they had. Shida's AEW World Champion again, and Wardlow made an appearance and squashed the guy. Was it necessary? Probably not. If there is one major argument against this episode of Dynamite, it is that on a night of such major competition over in NXT, this felt like a show in which nothing major happened. Unlike NXT, this was a broadcast that stayed the course, but did not do an abundance to convince fans to tune into next week's show. More really, they got people to tune into Collision. So missed opportunity at the end for AEW, but I'm sure the people will still tune in next Wednesday night. I know I will. Granted, I don't really know what's gonna happen, but I'll still tune in anyway. And with that will conclude this episode of AEW Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.